Goddess podcast. I am so happy to be here with you because we are going to have the opportunity to talk all about your money mindset. If you are new to the Money Goddess podcast, I want to give you a warm welcome of gratitude. Thank you for taking the time to listen in and learn more about how you can accelerate your experience with money and wealth. And just remember that abundance is your birthright and it is something that God has given you. And I am simply here to help you unlock that particular portal for your abundance in your destiny. And I would love it if you would go ahead and follow me on social media platforms wherever you are at I am JL Thomas. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. And if you are on YouTube, the Money Goddess 333 is available for you to follow as well. I want to stay connected with you all. She'sworthy.org is my website, and I actually have a free training available for you to help you manifest money rather quickly. So let's go ahead and dive into today's topics. Listen, we are talking to the wealthy women. Now, if you are a guy listening to this, because I have plenty of male listeners, you can apply these same tips. But I just, of course, predominantly speak to women, so that's why you will hear me saying that. So let's start off with some of the mindset shifts. I have learned that a lot of people consider anything in regards to money, they base their ability to get it off of society, off of their ancestral lineage. They are also always thinking that money is outside of themselves. Well, I want to tell you, your money manifestation powers all come from within. And I am going to help you to navigate how to shift and really get the amount of money that you desire to have. So, let's start off with number one. For those of you who have just come in to join us, hello, welcome, welcome. Here we go. I want you to practice healing your relationship with money. You guys, if you heal your relationship with money, you more than likely will heal almost every relationship that you have had in your life. Let me tell you why. Your relationship with money speaks to how you view love. I know a lot of people don't think love has anything to do with money, but it does. Spiritually, love and money come from your heart chakra. When your heart chakra is out of alignment, it makes it very difficult for you to manifest money. And if you heal that heart chakra, you will heal love and money, and you can do that at the same time. So I want to tell you more about my story and how I did that. Now, of course, I'm going to give you those practical tips. So, of course, keep listening. Now, I personally have been very open about my journey with my spouse as well as my money story. So my husband and I actually had a break in our engagement. Hello, welcome, welcome. I'm happy to have you all here. We had a broken engagement, and it was because both of us actually had issues with love, and it wasn't just with each other, it was also love within our families and how we viewed it. And unfortunately, I can also say that we struggled with money. Now, we weren't bad with money. It was like we hadn't went to that true like high level where we are today. And a lot of it has to do with how we perceived love. So when we broke up, we both had a lot of healing to do. And when it was time for us to get back together, when I tell you, our love and money amplified. The more we loved each other, the more successful we became with money. And I know a lot of it has to do with the tips that I'm going to share with you. So let's dig in. I want you to see money as your friend, not an enemy. What I have learned is that people put money on this pedestal. Money is not something that is above you. Money is within you. And if you constantly see money as something hard to grab, right, or get, something that you have to work for all the time, it is going to make you not be able to manifest it. Money should be something that comes to you naturally. Because if it's your friend, it will always be around you. Now, some people take this a little bit deeper and they see money as your opportunity to have a relationship with it, right? So for those of you who are women, you may say, money is my man, right? That makes the frequency different in how you view it. You love your friends. You love your significant other. I want to be very clear. There is nothing wrong with loving money, and we're going to talk about that in scripture. Love, there are different types of love. And I think that's where people mess up, because when people hear love, they think of this obsessive thing, right? When they hear, oh, the love of money. That's not necessarily what a healthy love looks like. Remember, there's brotherly love, which is, I believe it, you say phileo. There's also eros, which is like a lustful chemistry type of love, right? And of course, you have like a godly love, which is agape. So remember, there are different levels of love. And so you have to look at the context of how we love money. Now, I want to go into how do we actually make money our friend or our significant other in the way that we view it. First of all, the historic church wanted us to be peasants, right? So think about going back in time. There was a king and a queen, and they ruled the land. The reason why they wanted us to be peasants is because they wanted to be able to stretch their authority. If you all have a peasant mindset, you're not going to want to sit on the throne. You're not going to want to enjoy luxury. You won't see that as a part of your identity. Okay? So that's the reason why they came into that mindset. And the best way to make people submit to a peasantry idea is by telling them that it's holy. By tying peasantry to religion, it gave them a sense of, it gave kings and queens or rulers authority, and it gave people a feeling of, well, I'm a good person because I'm poor. I don't have much. I'm better than you in spirit, right? It's still ego. It's still not propelling you in your true identity of being a child of God, of being worthy of money. So you also have to consider, during a lot of those historic times, even prehistoric, when there wasn't any idea of this peasantry, there weren't full-time jobs. We literally work. Yeah, now we have, 8 to 12-hour work days, depending on how you know, work, okay? But that did not exist. We literally could go out. Of course, we had to do some sort of work with like planting. But even if you look, and I recommend this book, if you don't have my list of books, I have a huge recommendation list, but Millionaires of the Bible. If you go in and you learn about how God supplied manna for 40 years, you guys, these are the things that are not being talked about a lot in church, because the idea of God providing for us for 40 years, kings and queens don't want us to talk about this. They don't want us to see God as that provider, right? They want us to see them as the sole source. Oh, the king saved us. Oh, the king did this, right? That's that ideology. So, Millionaires of the Bible actually talks about what God did and his miracles. And also, we view Jesus as this poor carpenter that came here to die, right? And this is not about what someone's religion is, what they believe or don't believe. It's more so about the idea that Jesus actually was pretty wealthy. And it wasn't because, oh, he worked as a carpenter, right? It was because his ministry, I want you to think about this. His ministry could not succeed if he did not have money. So he had a lot of investors. Mary Magdalene was actually one of his investors in his ministry. She was loaded. And there were others as well. But we don't talk about these things. However, we know he could not travel place to place without money. He could not feed thousands without money. Now, money, I'm not talking about just coins, right? I'm talking about the mindset. He had an abundant mindset to be able to manifest all of those things that he did. Keep all of this in mind. Now, I want to also point out something that may be controversial. However, I know it's true. Women specifically are always taken care of. Why? Women are taken care of by God and are supposed to be taken care of by man. It is because we are the creative life force energy. We are abundance in human form. You give us a seed, we will give you a baby. You give us a house, we will make it a home. And it's not just about the decor, it's the energy of the home. Whatever you give a woman, she will naturally multiply. You give her good, you get great. You give her bad, you get hell, right? Whatever you are giving out, that is what you get back. So that is a natural thing. Now, it doesn't mean that men cannot multiply, because that would be being gender specific. But women typically have that feminine energy to be able to do those things. So that is why we are naturally taken care of. And when you look at different women in the Bible, when you look at, I have even found spiritual connections, especially to single women. And I have shared my story. My mom raised my sister and I on a $10,000 yearly salary after my father passed away. There is no way my mom should have been able to do that. But I know that a lot of it was God. And I received like opportunities of different scholarships, different things. Of course, I did put in the work, right? But I was very favored in that situation and growing up in poverty, because I should not have gotten the chances that I had. I should have had a child before getting married, and this is no shade to anyone, these are just the stats of myself, I should not be where I am financially. I probably should not even really be married to someone that is also successful. I shouldn't be a homeowner. I shouldn't have businesses. These aren't the things that I was exposed to. Just being honest and transparent. But because I know that God takes care of all things, I have seen him work. That's what makes me know that God takes care of his all of his children. But his women, he has a special heart towards, and so do men, because they know what goodness we bring to them. Now, I've also shared that money is not the root of all evil. And I've given you an idea of how I want you to view money, whether a friend or a significant other, energetically. Okay. Now, I want to bring a Bible verse to you that I remember Bishop T.D. Jakes actually shared this Bible verse many years ago, and it is Ecclesiastes 10:19. A party gives laughter, wine gives happiness, and money gives everything. Now, I am a Bible scholar through and through, and there's a lot of context behind this verse. First of all, we have to think about Solomon. He was the wisest and richest man in the Bible. Now, you get wisdom, you get riches. It is almost a natural correlation, okay? And he is saying that money gives everything. It answereth all things. If you have problems in this world, there is a I would say 80 to 90% chance that a lot of your problems could be answered with money. For example, if you are suffering with an illness, there's a chance that if you have the right money, you can get the wisdom and the knowledge and understanding of how to heal yourself. If you are struggling to pay your bills, and also I will say this, if you're struggling to pay your bills, maybe because you overspend, if you use wisdom, right? Because notice, just having money is not going to get you everywhere. You have to have that wisdom too. If you have the wisdom to be able to learn your habits, your patterns, your behaviors that make you overspend, that is going to give you an opportunity to move into a better financial situation, right? You have the knowledge and wisdom, and you have the money to be able to do things, okay? Money can answer a lot of problems. Does it answer every problem? No, okay? However, in this verse, he's just pointing out it is important. And that is a bold move from someone in the Bible, because we have always been told it's evil, we shouldn't want it, it's a problem. Money is not the problem. How people use and perceive money is the problem. Always remember that. That is going to keep you ahead of probably 90% of the rest of the billions of people here in the world. Because when you see that, you can use money for your advantage. And my hope is that you would use it for good. Now, also in healing your relationship with money, because that was or is the overall arching theme that I'm discussing right now, you will want to acknowledge your childhood wounds. What's funny is that my husband and I are actually talking through this because we all have childhood wounds. Now, again, you want to tackle childhood wounds regarding money, but also do it with love, because when you do those two together, it shows you a lot about how you operate in the world, and it also shows you your different needs and why you do what you do. So I'll give you an example. I know that a lot of people in previous generations, I would say baby boomers, are those who grew up in poverty as baby boomers are hoarders. And a lot of the reason why they hoard and hold on to things is because they didn't have much. And when they finally did get much, they are so scared to let it go. They might be super cheap. They might use things 20,000 times before they throw it away. But it's because they are holding on for dear life because they don't ever want to be put in that situation again where they could not have, right? Versus us who are millennials or even Gen Z, we have lived probably, not saying that we weren't in poverty, right? Because we may have been, but it's a totally different concept of poverty. For for me, my poverty was being economically at a disadvantage, right? But poverty looks different on different people. Boomers, it wasn't just financial, it was also, you have to think about, they struggled with um, classism, racism, gender issues. They had a lot more going on than what we may have had because we had a more progressive society if you're a millennial or Gen Z. It's totally different. So, because of that, those wounds are going to look different. Millennials, we kind of spend a little more. We kind of think outside the box, right? We kind of do things in a different way because we're not as fearful of losing things. We're more willing to move forward. We're more willing to move on, right? And so I want you to think about how you grew up in your childhood. What might have happened to you that has made you have a negative relationship with money? Did you find yourself whenever, let's say you wanted a certain toy and your mom or your dad in the store told you, we don't have money for that. We can't afford that. And so that was programmed into your mind. Was it that maybe you really went through it and you had a very poverty stricken situation where you were evicted from your home? What did you go through? Be willing to look at what you went through during your childhood into your adulthood. That is an opportunity for you to look and see what it is you really need to heal. And don't be afraid to heal those things. Don't be afraid to go deep. You may cry. It may feel unbearable, especially if you've never looked at those patterns before. Maybe you overspend because you don't feel worthy of having the money that you have. You just constantly dish it out, dish it out, dish it out because you don't feel comfortable sitting on it. You just feel like I have to get rid of it because if I keep it, it's all gonna go away anyway, right? Look and identify those different things that you have found yourself struggling with. Now, another thing is that goes a little bit deeper is look through your ancestral lineage. Now, I know my third great grandmother was a slave in Heidelberg, Mississippi. So, knowing that information automatically, it makes sense. My family, truthfully, has never really had a strong relationship with money. They've always either been able to like just get by, and if you had a few successful, people, they were always looked at or like looked at differently, or they seemed almost isolated because they were better. It was almost like a crab in a barrel mentality. And so recognizing that, it allowed me to really dig deep and see where in me am I exhibiting behaviors of my ancestors, Really get to know that. Think about those different things. And I would recommend, maybe even if you look on YouTube, there are plenty of opportunities for you to find some Reiki that actually helps with ancestral healing. There's some DNA activation. Of course, you want to do your research on these things, but I have found they have helped me quite a bit. And sometimes if I notice something, I'm like, where did this come from? Like, why am I having this issue with whether it's love or money? I look back and I'm like, my mom struggled with this. And I found a lot of my mom's struggles, not by what she tells me, but I'm observing her. And I also have done some hypnosis work previously too. So that may be something you might be interested in. And also neuro-linguistic programming. By the way, I have a lot of this in my Money Honey course. If you're ever interested, you can go to shesworthy.org. And this just helps speak to the healing that can take place if you really need that deep inner work, because it takes time. I've been working on my money mindset since 2017. So it's been 8 years of real deep work to get me to where I am. And I'm still doing work because life goes on, and you have new levels and new things that you need to continue working on. So it is a process. If this has been helpful for you so far, remember you can always leave me a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. If you're here on YouTube, you can comment. I'm always happy to receive your feedback, and I really hope that you are feeling very helped in your journey so far with money mindset. I will be doing another part for this particular episode, and I'm going to be going deep because there's so much more knowledge and information that I want to share so that you can thrive in your money manifestation journey.